top of the morning to you. You're listening to Flow FM 92.7. It's 8 o'clock, and it's now time for us to review some of the stories that are making headlines across Nigeria. Welcome to the Headline News Review. I am Adeyemi.
And I'm Danielle Shitta-Bay. Good morning.
And Nicholas Umonoye joins us live from Oka, Anambra State. Nicholas, good morning to you.
Good morning. How is everything over there?
Well, very well, thank you this morning. How are your chickens? Hope they are good.
You know, I don't normally slaughter chicken, but I'm going to make an exception for that cockerel, honestly.
It's all good.
All right. Thank you for joining us. Now, let's dive into the stories that we have this morning. Yesterday, we looked at the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission saying that they recovered an estate in the local Goma district of Abuja with houses, about 753 duplexes, that they recovered. Now, Showore has clashed over the unnamed owner of the 753 forfeited Abuja duplexes. He's saying, come on, why are you not revealing the identity of the alleged former government official who owns these duplexes? So now, what's the problem? Why are they not revealing this government official that owns the 753 duplexes? And what's the implication if they eventually release the identity of the person?
You see, recall that on Flow FM yesterday, we did raise that concern, even before Sowore made that observation too, that, and Sowore rightly pointed out the incongruity and, the contradictions in it. You arrest people, you call 419, Yahoo boys, and the rest of them, even while investigation is still going on. You parade them, you put computers in front of them, you show them you mention their names, you mention their identity, their school, everything, their private life, everything. So, but you now came to a situation where you make the largest haul, and you're unwilling and reluctant to mention the name of the person who is a major suspect. No, that it doesn't make sense. You see, the larger implication is this. It subtly confirms that perception that people have always had that corruption fighting a la AFCC is selective. And honestly, I think it was a very big blunder. They should have, okay, look at the case of Adeyemi too. It was a massive haul. They said allegedly traced to Adeyemi. They mentioned her name. They mentioned the name of some of these people, whom they seized their, huge assets from. So why is this case different? So of course they have come up with an explanation that they are still an ongoing investigation. If there is an ongoing investigation, then you keep it out of public view. I gave the example of what's it called? What Falana said about anti-corruption fighting under Goodluck Jonathan. You see, anti-corruption fight need not necessarily end up in court. There are plea bargainings. It's a legal tool with which, when you consider the cost of prosecuting a criminal and taking a huge chunk of what he has stolen and returning to the public till, you weigh the option and see which is better. It is allowed. It's a legal tool. So that was what the previous administration opted for. And I believe that a lot of such options were explored under President Muhammadu Buhari. So it's an option that was open for them ab initio. They could have explored that. Okay, look, we are not going to mention names. We are not going to talk about this, but you have to forfeit this. Then we don't have to know. All you just need to say is just give us the figure that this is what we have been able to bring in from corruption proceeds. You understand? You still get the kudos. So, but in this instance, it was so clear. There is no, wangling your way around it. It's so clear that you intended to protect the major suspect in that, corruption charge.
So Nigerians may never get to hear of the identity or the set of people behind this duplexes and this level of corruption.
Actually, in an oblique way, the name had been mentioned.
Okay.
Obliquely. Yeah, it has been mentioned, in a roundabout way that it concerns the CBN top notch and things like that. And of course, assumptions have already been made. We have one big fish already in the net of EFCC from the CBN. So definitely, in an oblique way, it has to come out in an oblique way. But I would have preferred a more direct, because this is a government agency. We've never seen, as poor as anti-corruption fight has been in this country, it has never been this how am I going to put it? It's not as if the man is not effective, but this kind of blunders are unnecessary. That is the pain. That is the pain I have. But considering the fact that a lot was done, a massive overhaul was done by the president in changing the leadership structure of EFCC. To now have this, no, Nigerians don't deserve it. Nigerians don't deserve it.
Okay, well, let's move away from that into this tax reform bill conversation again. And President Bola Tinubu has directed that the Ministry of Justice is to work with the National Assembly to address, some of the concerns generated by the tax reform bill currently before the legislature. What's your reaction to that? And what are the potential implications of the tax reform bill on the average Nigerian? And how might it impact the country's economic growth?
First and foremost, what it shows is that the strident criticism over the bill is getting to the presidency, and the president is getting to hear it. And that is why he has directed the Attorney General to work with the National Assembly on it. But I think it's more like putting the cart before the horse. I think that should have been the case from the word go. Inserting the Attorney General into that process from the word go is what the presidency should have done. And don't forget that the National Economic Council did advise the president not to take the bill to the National Assembly. They should engage in a wider consultation. You understand? So that happening now is like a back and forth thing, which is not too good for that bill. And like I've always maintained, I'm in full support of all those ingredients that I have seen that the bill contained. You understand? And the essential thing is that, for me, I think the plank of the criticism essentially rests on politics, if you ask me, regional politics. But it rests on regional politics about some states having a larger share, and interestingly, there has been some opposition even from the south too, saying that why, when it comes to oil, that is predominantly found in one region, it's a national asset. It's considered a national asset. But when it now comes to tax, where one or two states are the predominant biggest generator of tax, it's now a case of rationalization. Where you consume and things like that. They should have made it like oil too. I had Ulisa Agbakoba saying something like that. So those are the incongruities we are talking about. But by and large, I think that if Nigeria must make a progress, we have to look at the merits of that thing. You see, tax is a very healthy thing. Like we have always said on this program, on Flow FM, that tax is a very good thing. There is a need for proper education of the masses. That tax is organic, is the best way you can measure productivity, is the only way you can allow for creativity. The moment governors, local government chairmen know that the moment I create enterprise, then I can tax enterprise. Then I will have money that can be traced every now how I spend it. The taxpayers will want to know. That's the only organic way you can run fiscal governance and be successful.
Okay.
Well, my concern again is as to how much disagreement this tax reform bills has generated over the months, most especially it being rejected, by the Northern Consensus. Is it that it's not well interpreted, or is there any further reason behind the North not totally in support of this tax reform bill?
Well, like I said, a bit of politics is there. Then a bit of fear of the unknown. If there's anything that the North, the core Northern areas have always been against, why they've always been perpetually suspicious, is this fiscal federalism thing. A situation where you have a different derivative formula for allocating the country's wealth, other than what it used to be, which is its interest, which protects its interest. And let's get it clear, please. Their concerns are legitimate. The essence of politics is for your personal interest. If you now cannot go there and converse for your personal interest, that is your problem. But what we are saying, in essence, is that the critique is more of politics, more of fear of unknown, more of reduction of perceived reduction in what comes to them from VAT. You understand? And then apart from that, a little bit of laziness too is involved. Because you see, ordinarily for a productive-minded person, that says that, look, if you, that is like the consumption tax, for instance, that where you consume that product, you can generate tax from there. So there is a lot of consumption in Kano, in Kaduna, and all those places, because of the populations that you have there. So we are talking of a very big tax that could potentially come from there. But the bigger one is value added, where people, when you produce enterprise, then you can tax the enterprise. So the question I want to really ask them is that what they're afraid of? If that is what they're afraid of, then I think we can address that in a different way. What makes Lagos very viable for business and makes Kano less viable for that kind of business? We can address all those things. I think that is on a different platter entirely. You understand? We shouldn't bring what has to do with infrastructural development into the issue of tax. Tax is general. It is organic. It is it's generic. You understand? It's not. It doesn't tamper to sentiments and things like that. If you have done so work, you pay so amount. It's as simple as that.
All right, let's talk about the public opinion on the tax reform bill. Muhammad Idris, the Minister of Information and National Orientation, said that there are a lot of misinformation and fake news circulating about and around the tax bills and the overall reform agenda of the Tinubu administration. What role do you think that this misinformation and fake news have played in shaping the public opinion and perception of these tax reform bills?
I think the National Orientation Agency should take full responsibility for that. Who should orient Nigerians? That's their own. See, in the absence of information, rumors thrive. You understand? In the absence of critical information, correct information from the right channel, rumors thrive. There used to be a time when major policies like this, before it even gets into the public domain, you will have sounded out to the public. I'll give a very good example. Long before Abdurrahman Abdulrazak embarked on this, road reconstruction within the Ilorin metropolis, I can tell you that there was a series of, back channel meeting with the media through his aides, his principal aides. You understand? People like Ajakai, and a lot of the media aides. They reached out, they sounded out the media that you are going to see things like this. So please don't get worried. You understand? This is the reason why the governor is doing this. So that by the time the thing was announced, you understand, what you had was a robust discussion and no misinformation whatsoever. If there is anything negative at all about what is happening about reconstruction in Kwara, it's about the inconvenience that is coming from it. And that is quite manageable. That is how governance should go. You understand? That's a local example. So I think at the level of the presidency, they should have done something like that. It's not just about calling some eggheads or wonks, policy wonks in Nassau Rock and telling them that is what we're going to do. And when you have the influencers, the media people, the reporters, you have all of them, and you just throw that on them. The next thing is the rumor mill will go on overdrive. That's what is going to happen. So that, for me, I think that is their responsibility. That is where they have failed the presidency in this matter. They have failed to do the proper sensitization long before the bill hits the National Assembly. So that is my take on that.
All right, let me ask you another question, and of course I'm still going to a particular region in the country, and with is the north. Again, does it appear that the National Assembly is a bit divided or not in one voice as to the tax reform bills? Again, a statement was made that if the president does go ahead, or probably the National Assembly goes ahead with this bill, it might affect the chance of the presidents come 2027.
The usual, the 2027 is a bit of, that is in the realm of speculation. We all know that, you have threats like that in the past, and it doesn't. But you see, the thing is this. I have seen dissension in the National Assembly. I covered National Assembly briefly. When there is an uproar in the National Assembly, you will know, D1, you will know. You will know, because it's going to reverberate all over the places. You see, what you have is a controlled opposition. That is what you have. It's controlled, lightly controlled. Yeah, pockets of people dissenting. about the bill, resonating what the fear of the governors in the north. So, but by and large, in that National Assembly that I'm seeing, look, if that thing is put to a vote tomorrow, it's going to say true. You see, what the fear appears to be at the level of the presidency, why he's bending backwards to have the Attorney General weigh in and see how they can smoothen things, is essentially because of having passed it, the backlash that will come after. Not that that bill will not be passed. No, I don't think so. I don't think we are even near there. So what you're having is, the silent, angry voices speaking out through some outlets. But you see, it is late. That kind of thing in politics can be very latent. It's latent. It's not profuse, but it could snowball into a major, a great political upheaval. So that is just the fear. As to whether that law will be passed, I don't see any obstacle. I have said it repeatedly that I don't see any obstacle. So what the president is trying to do is to see, look, what really are your fears? And honestly, if you sit them down and ask them, you won't see anything concrete in the fears that have been expressed. Because I think from the provisions of the bill, in fact, I even read a summary of it about 10 different items, that the bill, that the tax covered. A very good example is this, that it intends to stop the customs from taking any form of tax whatsoever. Now tell me, in the light of all the things we've been seeing about smuggling and the rest of them, well, in the area of they are not up to task in managing the borders and things like that. What more things do you need? You understand? So we are talking of an omnibus body centrally responsible for collecting tax, instead of this divided. This where at the end of the day you don't have you can't really account for the tax remittances across the country. So what more can a country wish for if not that? So for me, I don't really see much of an opposition. Maybe political upheavals later when the bill is passed. Yes, that is a legitimate fear. But as to whether there is serious opposition within the National Assembly, I don't think so.
All right. Thank you, Nicholas.
All right. Well, let's move away from that and into another news story this morning. The Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, has warned underperforming committee chairmen and is threatening to replace them if they fail to meet the Senate's expectations. And this was because this was raised by, the Bauchi Central Senator, Abdul Ningi, and he complained that the Senate Committee on Finance had not conducted oversight on 92 revenue-generating agencies. What's your reaction to that? And just basically, what are the implications of this threat on the dynamics of the Senate?
Well, I sincerely hope the Senate President can walk his talk. But you and I know that most of these guys are very lazy people. You understand? Because you see, actually, the revenue generating agencies have been underperforming, and that's the simple truth. And that is because of lack of executive capacity in most of the CEOs that you have in place. We are talking of plugging the holes so that there won't be leakages. That is essentially where the leakages are happening. Places where they are supposed to generate revenue and remit same to the federal purse. You have all manners of leakages as a result of corruption, lack of diligence. You have it happening all over the places. You see, look, it will still go back to that tax thing we are talking about. You see, the tax that we pay is not that much. But the problem is that, if you aggregate the entire thing, Nigerians can pay it. But the problem is that people are not seeing the evidence of that tax being paid in their lives. That is why people resist paying tax. The moment you see evidence of tax payment in your life, nobody will prompt you not to pay. See, let me tell you, the reason why, despite the fact that, data, airtime, is still costly, we still pay tax, but you don't see any cut corners and things like that. It's not as if the technologies are not available to hoodwink the system. There are, but you see, over time, the GSM have shown that they have capacity and they deliver. Given our expectation, they have delivered. That is, given the things we are normally used to, they have delivered. compared to what we are used to. So that is why you see people anytime there is they go and pay what's it called? They pay for airtime, they buy data. Then for the GSM that is not doing well, you see that they have low subscribers. You get my point. So see, that is the thing about it's human. It's not just about Nigeria. The moment they see that there is efficiency in a system, they fund and sustain that system. So that is why you have all these problems out here, because it's lack of inefficiency. So people will always complain about this, and that is what the Senate, Ningi, has complained about. They are not remitting the taxes as the revenue as you are supposed to, as and when due. So I sincerely hope Akpabio can walk its talk. And of course, replacing chairman and things like that is not a new thing in the National Assembly. They do reshufflements all the time. And so now the Senate committee head, there are some places you call there are some committees that are considered as juicy.
Very
revenue generating agencies are considered juicy places. So when you are placed there, it is seen that you are in a very juicy, lucrative spot. So nobody wants to relinquish that. So, but if you don't want to relinquish it, you have to work. That is what Akpabio is really saying. But I sincerely hope he can walk his talk, really.
But
that is just
let me just ask you real quick, just a minute for you to react. But does the Senate President have that power to actually take out this committee chairman, or there is a process to it?
And
of course.
In addition to that, let me ask this as well. In addition to that, changing the chairman, what if you, what guarantee do we have that you're not going to hire even more incompetent people? You're saying that these ones are lazy. You're trying to reshuffle them. What assurance do we have that you're hiring new people? How competent would these ones now be?
First and foremost, like the question Dio asked, the Senate President has the power to reshuffle, change. He has it, but you see, he has to do it in consultation with those who backed him to be the Senate President. Don't forget that there is always a banana peel, like Okadibu said, around that Senate presidency. So he should be very careful he doesn't step on one. Because don't forget, in history, we've had the institution where within one tenure, we had about 3 or 4 Senate presidents. It has happened before. And it's because you didn't carry a lot of people along. So the moment the presidency or major political brokers, are tired of you, it's so easy to dislodge you. You understand? So he has to be very careful. So he can exercise that power. But whether it's going to fortify his position is another matter entirely. Now, let us not forget too that, you see, yes, as much as most of those people we see in the political office holder, those political office holders are considered lazy. It's not as if they are not educated. It's not as if they are not experienced. It's just that the lack of will. You see, there is this book, I think it was, this book written by Menkes, I think Jonas Menkes or something like that, on executive capacity. You understand? It's a different thing entirely. It's not about your IQ. It's not about your emotional intelligence. It's not about social intelligence. It's about whether, if given a set of people, a set of resources, you can achieve a set target. That is executive capacity, executive intelligence. You understand? That has always been a leadership crisis that we not only face in Nigeria, we face it across the world at different levels. You face that kind of problem. The absence of executive intelligence translating to executive capacity. So you have people who can do that, who are well educated and things like that, but do they have the capacity to deliver the goods? So that is left for Akpabio to do, and I know that portfolio, that committee chairmanship is a very juicy spot, and people lobby for it day in, day out.
Okay.
Very true.
They lobby for it. So see what he has simply said is to give them give whoever is in charge of that portfolio a marching order. That look, there are people waiting in the wing to take your job.
So it's kind of like jolting them to do what they have to do.
Exactly. You see, look, before he could make that threat, he knows that, look, if I remove you and replace you with this person, it's not going to hurt my position. That's why he's a politician. That's why he survived all this while. So you see, look, Nigerian politicians might be many things, But as far as political intelligence is concerned, native intelligence is concerned, these guys are exceptionally good at it. they have a keen sense of survival. That is the Nigerian politician for you. They are not like your Japanese samurai that will commit harakiri at the slightest. No.
Right.
Okay.
And let's quickly, because of time, and so let's move on to our last conversation for this morning. And it's on the 2023 presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, who kicked against the arrest of lawyer and activist Dele Farotimi. The Farotimi was picked up by the men of the Nigerian Police Force, Zone 2 Command in Lagos, following a defamation petition filed by Tony Elumelu, the chairman of the United Bank of Africa UBA Group. And of course, Peter Obi described that arrest as a gross misuse of power, of police power, and a grave assault on the principles of democracy and justice, saying further that, well, anyone who feels a bit defamed should seek redress in the court of law. What's your reaction?
Just a bit of, if I may say, I think the case of Elumelu was dispensed with when he appeared at the police zone. Is this? One of the zonal commands.
Zone 2
yeah.
command.
Then the second, Zone 2 command. Yeah, that was dispensed with, and he was. There was no problem with that. But I think the petition actually came from Ekiti and from, allegedly from a very senior lawyer that is a proprietor of a university. You understand? Concerning the book he wrote or something like that, some tweet he made in the past, allegedly casting aspersion on the person of that senior respectable lawyer. That is it. So, having said that, I align with Peter Obi in what he has said. You see, I don't know. The Nigerian police have been very slow, exceptionally criminally slow in the uptake of how, even the laws of Nigeria. Now, Falana pointed out the incongruity in that action they took, that Lagos State has decriminalized defamation. They did that more than how many years ago? Close to 4 years ago. And allowing that to happen, you are picking up a man all the way from Lagos and taking him to Ekiti. Don't forget that was what happened to about a journalist in Kwara State here in Ilorin. Some people just took off from what do they call it? Is it a fraud unit? All the way from Lagos, came to Ilorin here, whisked the journalist away without even the courtesy call on the state command. You see, the thing is, the man has made the point. See, anything that has to do with libel is a civil matter. Mm-hmm. It's a civil matter. In fact, it is even much more worthwhile going through the civil case than this criminal defamation, because the essence of it is to intimidate the suspect or the defendant. That is the essence of it. You are using coercion, to get him, lock him up, harass him, hassle him. It's unfair. It's most unfair. And honestly, something has to be done. And honestly, I think until top classes in the Nigerian police are used as scapegoats to hurt this thing, we are going to be having this until we have another NSAS if care is not taken. So what led to NSAS? That even the federal government itself admitted that something had to be done to the police station. They scrapped SAS, but they are still repeating those same thing that led to that crisis we had some years ago, with a tragic consequence on people. So please, I think the Nigerian police, I don't know. The last time we had a discussion, I told them, why are you guys so slow? But what I got from the back channel is that, look, they lean on them. The political officer that lean on them heavily, and they want to keep their job. So, you see, blaming the Nigerian police alone might not solve the problem. Yeah. But I think that it goes to the quality of people you put, like I said earlier, executive capacity, executive intelligence. All right. It shouldn't be about political allegiance.
Nicholas, it's time. Thank you a lot.
Time has been fast spent.
Thank you for your contribution, and thank you for your knowledge this morning as well. And we must say again, thank you for putting your chickens in check this morning.
Oh, come on.
My name is Adeyemi, and that's the size of our program for this morning. Join us tomorrow, same time, 8 o'clock to 8:30.
And I'm Danielle Shitta-Bay. Thank you for joining us.
It's Christmas time at Flower Garden Ilorin, your ultimate holiday spots. Mark your calendar from December 20th through to 2nd January 2025. Come enjoy the festive season like never before. Bring your family and friends for non-stop fun and excitement as you join us for a season of laughter, lights, and unforgettable memories within our natural park. At Flower Garden Ilorin, experience the gallery arena, dance to live music, mad DJ jams, and sing your heart out at karaoke. Don't miss our competition prizes, outdoor games, bouncy castles, train and horse ride, face painting, great food, and evening of fireworks and much more. Get fee 1,000 naira. Come celebrate the season and feel the joy of the Yuletide season at Flower Garden Ilorin, where nature meets fun this season.
Jingle bells.